For this next part, we're gonna focus in the grass. And I'm going to put white and green in the center here. I'm going to be kind of generous with it because I really want to be able to blend. And I'm going to slowly work my way up. I'm going to mix just a little bit of green in with that white. Kind of make it in rows. Want a little bit more green in that. The hard part is you need to do both sides without going through that. All right, so we are going up. And now I'm going to mix a little bit more white into that. And I'm just gonna keep mixing white and green, but I don't wanna fully blend it because I want this like white and green texture as I'm going up so that my grass looks a little more textured. Here you can kind of see my paint tray as I'm mixing those on there. I'm not stirring them together, I'm just mixing them as I paint. Sometimes a little bit more white than green, just to kind of give my green some texture. And I'm kind of liking these hard lines. You do though, if you want to blend out your grass, you go ahead and blend out your grass. I kind of like these different tones of green that I have going on. So it is completely up to you on the style you would like. Also up to you how big of a brush you're using, how big of the strokes you're using. And I'm going to use up all that white and green that I put on my tray, even though I thought it was a lot. I'm going to use it up. Now on this very back row, I have a little bit of blue left on my tray. I'm actually going to mix just a little bit of blue in with that. You do not have to. I'm doing that just so that that back row kind of has a shadow to it. And it's just going to blend right in with that green anyways. And I'm going to leave kind of that hard edge right there. Again, that is totally up to you on how you do that. I'm just kind of adding in that blue to give the back of that hill kind of some shadow, because what's farther away from you is going to look a little bit darker. What's closer to you is going to be lighter. I did not want to blend like that. And voila, we have our grass. So next, we are going to mix Hooker's Green. I'm going to put it right here. Some yellow medium hue. I'm putting this all in the same thing. And some white. We're going to mix that all together. So see right here, I'm going to mix that together. And back here, I'm just going to work that into there. And I'm going to do real choppy strokes to blend that in. You can see a little bit more of that yellowish color sticking in there now. Actually, I'm blending wet into wet, and I'm not sure if I love that. I'm going to mix a little bit more yellow on there. At least with me mixing wet onto wet, I'm actually getting a texture on here, which I know you probably can't see with how far away the camera is, but I'm just really glopping on the paint Van Gogh style where I'm not fully mixing it and I'm leaving those ridges because heck, it's grass. Grass sticks up. We don't have to blend it down. And I might come in later again with this color and add some more to get that color that I really wanted, which is more of a yellowish color. I'm really getting some texture on there. I should have used this tiny brush to begin with. I'm really trying to utilize a vertical brush stroke. And there it is. And you can continue this as far down as you want. I'm just doing the top part of this. Trying to keep as much of that yellow pigment in as possible so I don't lose that. I might go down a little bit further on this side. And like I said, you could always let it dry and come back also. I like painting wet into wet. This might not have been the ideal time to do wet into wet, but it's definitely working. Do some wet into wet right here, kind of build up that layer. And then I'm going to let this sit and dry. And we'll come back to the next layer soon. Okay, for this next part on your paint tray, my grass is dry now. I want white, medium yellow, not primary yellow. Almost missed my paint tray. I put quite a bit because we're going to do 2 different steps with that yellow. You are going to want your cadmium orange hue. Make sure it's the orange, not the red hue. And then just put a little bit of burnt umber in a spot as well. You might need it, you might not. Just kind of depends on how you're feeling with it. And then taking kind of a square brush, we are going to use that yellow and white. I'm going to start with the yellow and then go to the white and kind of zigzag back and forth. Don't completely cover the brown, but just kind of adding some tones to your pathway. The reason we're going horizontal is to kind of make it look like you're walking on the path and not just following a line. So now I'm going to start kind of taking some white with that. I'm blending it together as I'm doing that zigzag. So I said you might need brown, you might not. It depends on how brown you want that walkway to look. I want to keep it fairly, apparently my green's not all the way dry because I keep pulling it into my brown a little bit there. I want to keep my edge kind of dark, so it kind of looks like that shadow coming up off of there. But I don't want to do it so much that my path isn't lit, because obviously that, oh, I might have some green in my brush. Obviously that moon is really shining on there, and we are going to also add in some lamp posts that are shining on there. So just kind of zigzag that in. I might have used too much, but oh well. I'm going to go in with just a small brush and some of that brown and kind of mix it in some places. You do what you want to do to make your pathway. I just feel like I got it a little too light and would like it a little bit darker. Mixing it in with that white and yellow isn't going to hurt it any. Again, get your texture in there. I think I got it the way I want it now. You can always let it dry and go back. It's not that big of a deal. So next, on our moon, I'm going to take a dry brush. So I'm going to get that kind of clean. I got some red in it. Hopefully that doesn't matter. And using your yellow and some white, so white and yellow on your brush, you are just going to kind of tap some texture into your moon. If you think you got too much, use a paper towel, kind of dab at it with your paper towel to pull some color up. I am also going to use some white and some orange. Got a little bit, so I'm just going to dab it just right here on my paint tray until I get the color I want, and kind of dab it in there. I might have had too much white that I didn't want in there. And just kind of give that moon some texture. Again, if you think you got too much, use paper towel and pull it up. Ooh, I did not have a clean paper towel. If you did what I just did and you kind of over textured it, get a smaller brush, use some white, kind of smooth it out into that, or let it dry and then smooth it out. I'm going to kind of blend it right now and then go back in once it's a little drier. Kind of give me some white back on my moon. I did not realize my paper towel had so much orange left on it. I'm actually going to kind of tap in some white so I have some really bright whites on that moon. And like I said, you do what you need to do on it. I think I'm going to tap in some more yellow on that to really get it in. And I'm leaving a lot of texture on my moon, but if you don't want texture on your moon, that is okay. I was not a real big fan of that orange like I thought I was going to be. So I'm just going to kind of texture white all over to kind of dampen all that. You make your moon look how you want. But voila, there's my moon. It might not be exactly what I wanted, but there it is. And I like the texture that I just got on it. And then I'm going to let that dry. When we come back, we will need a colored pencil.